Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Arrowheads, welcome back to Queen Consolidated. I am Lilith.
And I'm Kelly.
Up for discussion today is Arrow Season 3's mid-season finale, 309 The Climb, aptly titled. Not named after the Miley Cyrus song, apparently.
Thank goodness.
I have to say, I enjoyed this episode in the rewatch, not so much the live watch. I was too tentative about what was going to happen and skeptical.
I was glad it was more arrowy.
Definitely more Arrow-esque. I really feel like now, like I've said this at least 4 different times, but I really feel like finally this is the Arrow that I know and love, and we're on the upswing. I told you guys the second half of this season is going to be amazing.
They stuck us with the pointy end.
Finally. Oh, so, like, actually, when you break this episode down, though, not a lot honestly happened.
That's true.
It was like, I don't even really feel like we wrapped up any storylines other than who killed Sarah, but it's still more to this story because, Bex Cost Taylor says she comes back in episode 3, I believe it was 312, right?
I think that's right, yeah.
And she has something to add to Sarah's death or whatever. So we're not even really completely wrapped all the way up with that storyline either. And usually that's what the mid-season finale does. It kind of pulls the curtain down on the first half of the season and sets the stage for the second. This episode was written by Jake Colburn and Keta Shimizu. And it was directed by Thor Fortenthal. Now, I am actually familiar with this director. I don't know if you are. The first movie that I think I've ever saw that he directed was Hotel for Dogs.
Yes, I saw that movie.
And the other movie, who Mark Guggenheim has a hand in, is Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief.
Ah.
So I was very, it piqued my interest when I saw that he was the one that was going to be directing. He's done a couple of other things too, but those are the 2 things. So I was interested to see what he did. And this episode was very thematic and very, they really had a plan for this episode.
Yeah, that was pretty evident.
It was a little corny for me, the title of it, and then we see these quote-unquote flash forwards. That's what I dubbed them. We had flashbacks and flash forwards. That's too much.
Yes. I got it, but yeah, I'm with you. Too much like other things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, I talk about how Constantine never feels like its own show. It's like that awkward moment when Arrow just feels like everything back. Movies, TV, cartoon, everything.
Yeah, just like, wow.
But I guess we should give them the synopsis.
Yes, we should. Nyssa returns to Starling City and tells Oliver that her father, Ra's al Ghul, has given Oliver 48 hours to find Sarah's killer, or the League of Assassins will start killing the citizens of Starling City. Laurel is stunned when her father delivers a very special Christmas gift, her mother, Dinah. Meanwhile...
over in Stalkerville...
yeah, Ray tries to make amends with Felicity, and Oliver sets a meeting with Ra's al Ghul.
So this episode, the very first thing we see after the title card is a cold, snowy, icy, blue-black mountain, and it's Oliver climbing it, and then we span to 48 hours early. And we see a happy Quentin at the police precinct.
Yay, Quentin.
Oh, he's finally embracing his role as captain, and I appreciate that.
And Oliver's partner.
Well, he's the only person that doesn't tell him that he can't do it. But notice we did kind of have an emphasis on him still popping those cardiac event pills. It's like, yeah, we know. He's fragile. He can't take it.
Yeah.
But then, he sees Oliver. Like, he goes outside and Oliver has him a little nice Christmas present.
All wrapped up, too.
Well, handcuffed.
Well, close enough. With a bow on his mouth.
So funny. And so Quentin goes back in with his prisoner, and some assassins from the League show up and beat him up and kidnap him.
And down on silks, which was very cool.
At first he's like Merlin, and I'm like, nah, son, it ain't Merlin.
Nah.
As soon as I saw the silk drop, I'm like, oh, these guys again?
Yep. The circus performers.
It was really cool. I definitely think that the action in it was really cool.
Yeah, that was very cool. And I just found it a little kind of,
Circus Soleil.
I thought Oliver would have done a little better than that. But, hey.
Yeah, he was jarred because he thought it was Malcolm. And again, I don't know how we're jumping to the conclusion that Oliver's so smart. Just
yeah.
I have a really big issue with all of a sudden, like, we've just, like, took a leap forward in time, and now Oliver is brilliant and gallant and brave and true, and it's just like...
And now he's dumb.
But then they keep trying to tell us that he's smart in this episode.
Well, if he was smart, he wouldn't have been in that alley by himself.
Well, he wasn't expecting it. Again, not a great tactical mastermind, but I digress.
Well, and Roy looks more like Santa Claus than he does. Takes red and green for Christmas.
I have a good Easter egg for that, actually. They drag him to Nysa, and she breaks him to the news that, hey, we didn't have a deal. We were just trying to give you time, and your time is up.
You got 48 hours, buddy, to watch the news or to get your butt in gear.
Yeah. So then we get a flashback, and I just groaned. I'm like, we're 6 minutes, 31 seconds in, and we have a flashback. Just give some people some time, man, There was a lot of flashbacks this week.
There was a ton.
And so it's Oliver walks in after, torturing the suspect for Argus, and Maceo's like, hey, dude, clean up and have something to eat. I know how you're feeling. What'd you find out?
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm going to ask after I've almost killed somebody, sure.
Maceo has no tact or coup, so it's okay. So apparently they stole this thing that was supposed to be a super antibiotic, and that's kind of stupid to be developing a super antibiotic because you just need to let things run its course. Otherwise, you create super viruses, which is actually what they created.
Exactly.
Oh, so many things on the scientific level that just bother me. But anyway, so it's called Omega, which guess what in Chinese that translates to Omega.
Oh, mention that.
Cut to the present, well, quote unquote present day. Because it's like almost like they were presenting his climb as him thinking back over the last 48 hours. Was that just me or?
No, I had that same idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, present day, quote unquote, we see Laurel at Sarah's grave, and she's talking to her, and she runs into Thea. Now, this was a great scene between Laurel and Thea before Laurel just blurts out that Sarah is dead.
Yeah.
I really honestly think they hate the character of Laurel. They don't like making the character of Laurel look good in any way, shape, or fashion. They absolutely have to make her the butthole of the show.
She just can't keep a secret. She can't, how's the Arrow Cave gonna stay a secret if Laurel knows where it is? She says everything to anybody.
She's a terrible liar.
Yeah.
And usually that's not a bad thing, but when you have so many secrets to keep, she'd already told Ted, and I'm like, I finally just made peace with that. I was like, as long as she doesn't tell anybody else, we're good. And we'll get to the next person she told her in a little bit, but I really thought that scene was awesome until she did that. Her and Thea's interactions. Thea was there seeing her mom.
Yeah, and it was cool because, that Thea went there, because she still kind of had mixed feelings, I think, for a while, at least about her mom.
Well, and we see this later on when she calls Robert Queen her dad.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was cool that Thea was there, and I understand, Laurel wants to tell somebody to get it off her chest.
But she'd already done that.
To have somebody commission with. Yeah, exactly. She'd already done it. So, there's only like a couple ways to keep a secret. One is don't tell anybody.
So you can keep a secret if one of them is dead, just saying.
Exactly. So, you keep blabbing, and it's gonna get around to your dad, and if you think that's, he's not strong enough to take it, then you're killing him by telling all these people.
And she's like, just don't tell your brother. And I'm just like, anyway, we fast forward to Queen Consolidated, and Felicity's giving Ray the cold shoulder over the kiss. And she wants to keep it quote unquote professional. But dude, how are you going to keep it professional with all these low cut tops and unnecessarily high heels, Felicity?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Not that she doesn't look nice, but it's a little bit not quite professional.
Yeah, I could never get away with wearing anything like that in the office.
Oh, sigh. But anyway, Felicity's like, I gotta go to work. And Ray was like, but you're at work. One of my favorite moments of the night, hands down.
That was funny.
And so, Felicity comes back and Oliver's like, yo, we got 48 hours, run this DNA. We gotta find out who killed Sarah. And so Oliver thinks it's Merlin that planted his DNA on the arrow or whatever. Wait, no, I'm jumping ahead.
He thinks it's his DNA, first of all.
Yeah. And then he thinks it's Malcolm that planted it there.
Yeah, which I could understand him thinking that.
That was actually smart and kind of, sort of, almost what happened.
Kind of, yeah. In an odd kind of convoluted way.
Yeah. So, they scramble about, like, okay, we have to figure out if Merlin absolutely did leave Corto Maltese when he was there. And so they track down the plane, and the Arrow and Arsenal go to interrogate the pilot. And then they find some more footage. And guess what? It was Thea with Malcolm. Dun, dun, dun! Yeah. And he did land the night that Sarah was murdered. So it's like, okay.
Right.
The pieces are falling into place. And then, of course, old stalker Ray hands Felicity's cell phone at Verdant. Hey, buddy, come talk to me.
Because I tracked you.
Ray was just so not charming in this episode at all. Like, even his quote-unquote tragic backstory, it was stale and trite.
Yeah. The only time that I thought that I really liked him in this episode was when he was showing off the Atom suit.
Yeah. He got that sparkle back.
Yeah.
He was very ho-hum to that point. And that's a shame because they had been writing the character of Ray Palmer really well, and Brandon Roth had just been able to breathe so much life into the character, and now it feels like the character is stagnating.
Yeah. We got to get him moving again.
Definitely. I think it has a lot to do with, oh God, not another quote-unquote origin story where the guy has a tragic backstory. Enough's enough. Can't somebody just, you know what I mean? Can't somebody just want to be a hero and do good? Even in Starling City, Oliver kind of goes and confronts Thea, but not even confronts. He kind of just asks her, hey, were you in Corto Maltese the whole time? And she lies bold-faced to his face, but she really didn't lie because apparently she didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, she totally, well, yeah. I mean, that was a nice stroke from the writers, I thought. Anyway.
Yeah. And it also kind of leads back to the scene in the graveyard with Laurel where she seems really shocked, surprised, and like sorry for.
And it's just sad because, I believe that, what she said, she would have totally looked Oliver up, had she been in Starling City, of course.
I don't know. He tells her this, and like, I think this went over my head because honestly, okay, I'm going to admit to this, guys, and it's okay. I wrote the review this week for Arrow over on Voices TV, only have watching it 1.5 times. Like, I was super distracted when I was live tweeting this episode. I probably only saw like a fourth of this episode. So I rewatched it and I wrote the review. So I've only actually seen this episode like 1.5 times. And so what Ray was saying about his fiance was that she got murdered during the Deathstroke riots?
Yes.
Okay.
During the, when they had the Malcolm's machine went off.
Oh, the earthquake?
Yeah, and there were looters and stuff. That's what I thought, but I could watch it again, but I thought it was during the earthquake.
So then, like, we cut to Starling City Police Department, and it's Quentin on the phone, and then Dinah walks in. Alex Kingston reprises her role as Mama Lance, and I was really happy at first.
Spoilers!
What? Oh, Alex Kingston reference. I get it now.
Yes!
I got you. Woo! That Doctor Who reference almost went over my head. Almost.
Maybe I should have said hello, sweetie.
There you go. That's more about Alex Kingston. Laurel's shocked and surprised and becomes a terrible liar yet again. She's backpacking. Laurel, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, okay, who wouldn't expect if they have family to have their family come. She's only 600 miles away. Hello.
Well, she also has a new man in her life, and her kids are adults at the same time.
Yeah. But still, I mean,
that last dinner was really awkward. Let's just be real.
That's very true, but, hey.
No, I totally get you. It's just like, Laurel, oh, dear goodness. What are we going to... Like, they just painted her with an awful, awful brush this week.
Yeah, the silly stick.
So, yeah. And then, Oliver goes to confront Thea, as the Arrow.
Because Felicity suggested it.
Yeah. Thanks, Felicity.
Yeah, but, it was the only way he was gonna get answers, or so she thought. And it's true. He did get his answers, just not the way he expected to.
Felicity just needs to stop being a freaking meddlesome little twerp. I'm getting really tired of them shoving this velocity down my throat. I think and it's really starting to taint my perception of Felicity, not to mention what's going on in the comic books with the character Felicity Smoke. It is really starting to grate my nerves, and I apologize, but I'm just being very upfront about it. But he goes and he kicks the window in. What a jerk, first of all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
You live there. Can't you just shimmy down the chimney or something?
Ho, ho, ho.
Exactly. But yeah, and so, at first, Thea's we know as an audience that Thea can kick butt now.
Right.
And so she plays it off very well. I thought this was a very good choice. Thea kind of hovers and she's like, I don't know where he is. And then she throws the glass at him to distract him and really lays into him in a really cool fight sequence that I really like.
I wonder if she realizes where she learned how to fight, or if she was drugged that whole time.
I don't think she was drugged the whole time. Well, from the flashback that we saw.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know because we don't know the effects of the drug. Besides that they lose all their memory of it. But wouldn't it be interesting if, she can now fight, but she doesn't know where she learned?
I think that would be a cool twist, too. She jumped off the roof, though. I was just the balcony. I was just like, oh, that was really cool. Now, it would have been a lot more awesome had her pants not been so sparkly.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make it so that you could see what she was doing, though.
Very true. I really hate the wardrobe they have in 98% of the time nowadays.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Crop sweaters.
Oh my god.
What's the point?
And it'll make even less sense in the Easter eggs. That I'm very ticked off with these Easter eggs this week, honestly. Uh-oh. It's just the one, but it really frustrates me. But anyway, he goes back to the Arrow Cave, Oliver does, and he tells him what happens, and he still sticks up for Thea, and he's like, I looked into her eyes and blah blah blah, she didn't do this. And then the next day Malcolm confronts him at Verdant. Seriously, why is Oliver just wandering around the top part of Verdant? Thea could walk in at any time.
Yeah,
that was weird. But he is like, you want to explain to me why the Arrow is terrorizing Thea? And then we get the reveal.
Yeah.
And we learn that Malcolm Merlyn has not changed his stripes. He is still the biggest, most nastiest scumbag on the face of this earth.
Even though we love John Barrowman.
Yeah, duh. But Malcolm Merlyn is a scumbag. This is the lowest of the low of the low.
Using your kid to make sure that you get pardoned. Yeah, that's pretty ugly.
I hope that Malcolm Merlyn is not Thea's father at the end of the day. But yeah, at this point, he's such a scumbag, and Thea deserves so much better from everybody in her life that I'm heartbroken for Thea.
Yeah, she's had it awful.
He's got video, and he's not afraid to show it. Who are you, Malcolm Merlyn? You are a monster. So he drugged her with that same substance that in one of the earlier flashbacks, we learned the scientists that China White or Chen Na Wei used the same drug. I believe it was Votor. Baited Thea into doing this so that Oliver would kill Ra's al Ghul so that it would erase his blood debt. Or get Oliver killed. Either way, it was a win-win situation for Malcolm Merlyn.
Exactly.
Because Oliver admits that he was the one that killed Sarah. So if he doesn't win, he dies. And, they think that it was Oliver. If Oliver wins, he kills Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, it's just despicable what Malcolm does. Wow.
Yeah. Just whatever. So we already kind of talked about that one flashback where they learn what Chen Wei has done after they break into that the biotech firm. And so Oliver goes to confront Ra's al Ghul. Well, he goes to Nysa, and Nysa's like, do you think he would really come just because you wish it so? And Oliver's a little arrogant behind, of course, yeah. I'm Oliver Queen, aka the Arrow. Everybody, yeah.
Sure.
Well, he was there, in all fairness.
That's true, he was.
And so he goes, he meets him, and he refuses to, in a classic Batman move, refuses to bow to the demon. So yeah, and so he calls him just a boy, and Oliver says, I killed Sarah, and nobody believed it, but hey, he challenged him to a duel, son. What you gonna do? You gonna let no punk kid disrespect you like that?
Right. And I'm trying to explain to Ellie, okay, he just said he's how old, Ellie? And what does he look like? Okay, something's going on here, right?
Oh my God, it annoyed me so much.
Yeah.
67 years since somebody challenged him, and he killed his first person when he was 11. And
11.
I'm just like, this is too much. So I think that it was their way of saying that now Bruce Wayne might exist in this universe, but Batman is not born yet. That's number one, what they were trying to tell us with all this Ra's al Ghul information. And number two, Lazarus Pits exist.
Yes.
And I am really gagging about that. You guys know how I feel about superpowers and crazy sci-fi stuff on Arrow. I feel like the show needs to stick to its grounded premise. I mean, we've already had the Mirakuru.
You saw the pictures with Robbie Amell this week on set, right?
What, on Arrow?
Well, they tweeted a picture together, and I'm pretty sure he was at the Arrow set.
Or they could have just been having lunch. Their sets aren't that far from each other.
That's true. I don't know.
Oh, man. I mean, it's bad enough we have the Lazarus Pit, and we pretty much know that that's the only way that Oliver comes back.
Pretty much.
Unless it's a quote-unquote serum or something like that. Either way, it's ridiculous, and it's really stretching, believability. Suspension of disbelief. And I'm okay with that in small doses.
Comic book.
I know,
Yes.
but just the premise that they promised me, and every season we get further and further and further away of what they promised me.
Yeah, I hear you.
And for no good reason either.
Yeah, well, because you have a show that has superpowers, so you have another show that's doing better than your ratings with superpowers.
And I told you my conspiracy theory that it was always the plan to have the Flash be spun off of Arrow and to kind of let Arrow fall by the wayside once they launched the Flash. And that's definitely what it feels like is happening. I mean, it's still pretty good, but it's not like I feel like their attention isn't fully on Arrow anymore.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you.
And it's a shame because I still love the show. It has so much potential. And I really feel like after, basically now that Oliver's died, it's Arrow 2.0, and he's finally going to be that Oliver and that green Arrow that, the hardcore comic book fans that have been sticking around to see the birth of that. He's finally going to be that, And they've alienated so many that I don't think a lot of people are willing to come back now.
And that's sad.
Yeah, that's all that I'm really upset about with. But like I said, this was a really well conceptualized episode. I saw exactly everything that they were doing. Everything tied well together. Even if it felt a little cheesy and hokey, it still did tie together and make a pretty powerful impact from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After he confronts them, they give him 48 hours to get his affairs right. Oh yeah, 12 hours. And he confronts Maceo.
And he has to climb in that 12 hours.
I know. I was just like, wait, that doesn't seem fair that he has to climb a mountain and then duel Ra's al Ghul. Like, Ra's al Ghul probably didn't climb that mountain. He probably flew his helicopter.
Exactly.
And it was a sacred location that wasn't in Nanda Parbat, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, a third kind of a more neutral.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did like his confrontation of Maceo, and he says Maceo is dead, it's Sarab now. And so they kind of talk about that. He's like, I don't want to see you die. This is foolish, but if you're going to do it, hey, 12 hours, get your butt there. I will bear witness to what happens for you. And it was really interesting that he was the one that was going to do all the killing of the citizens of Starling City if he didn't produce the Sarah's killer. He's basically, it seems like Ra's al Ghul's right-hand man. But he hasn't been there that long. He was there the same year that Sarah showed up.
Well, my guess is that he is very good at being unseen. I mean, his Sarab is ghost or phantom. He would be the perfect person to do it because nobody would know, who did it. He has no ties.
Yeah. But just the way that it made it seem, because when he wouldn't bow to Raz, he wanted to cut his head off and all that stuff. Because Ra's al Ghul has a sidekick in the comic books. He's a rather large Asian man, like huge, chubby. If you watch the cartoons, you guys know what I'm talking about. So, like, I don't know, maybe that was like a substitute for that is what I was thinking. But I thought that it was interesting that, you know, those flashbacks finally, like, oh, maybe that's the point of these flashbacks. And, you know, we see in the flashback that he loses his wife. Chen Wei kidnaps her, and I guess she kills her because he says he has nothing left. So that means something happens to his son, too, eventually, if he gave up everything to join the League.
Right, and I bet you we'll see that story later.
Oh, yes. I was assuming that it would be Tatsu who would come because Katana is such a huge Batman thing that, and, you know, Arrow loves its Batman references. Right. And so I was really shocked, actually, that it was, you know, Maseo that survives this whole situation. Or so it seems. Who knows? Tatsu probably got brainwashed and is Katana by now.
Right, exactly. You don't know.
You never know with Arrow. Everything has a way of... Everything that Oliver did in the past always comes back to bite him in the butt. It is always his fault. It is, honestly. And that I think that that's a disservice to the character, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So, you know, Oliver goes and gives his farewells. His lukewarm freaking farewells. You know, he stops to see Thea and tells her he loves her. He's willing to do anything to protect her. And he warns her about Malcolm. And he gives Diggle a limp noodle handshake. And he gives Roy this BS hug. Barks the order, take care of Thea. And of course, special treatment Felicity Smoke. I'm really upset about this. This is the way that they handled it.
Yeah, I thought it could have been done a lot better.
I mean, a handshake, he doesn't even say anything to Diggle.
No, he doesn't, and that bothered me too. Because Diggle's been there since the beginning.
Exactly. And some people said, oh, well, the handshake is their thing. I was like, not really. I mean, I don't know. Like, I get what people say when they say that, but, like, Diggle just deserves so much more because he had been there from the beginning.
Yeah. And I get that Diggle isn't a real touchy-feely kind of guy.
When the circumstances warrant it, though.
Yeah, but exactly.
And this, he knew. Like, everybody in the room knew that Oliver was basically marching to his death. Let's just be real.
Yes.
Oliver knew he was marching to his death, but he did it with a smile on his face as not to worry his team. And I really like that character growth, is that he took this mantle on his shoulders and he was willing to see it to the end. But, man...
That scene also bothered me. It lacked...
Like the I love you to Felicity, I'm just going to be real. It felt forced and it felt like it was a wink and a nod specifically to the last two shippers. And it just wasn't the time and the place for that. Like, I liked Felicity's speech to him because, like, I totally called that she would tell him to kill if need be, you know?
Right.
That kiss on the forehead and that I love you. And it was just like, she's the only one that gets it. I mean, really?
Yeah, it just... There should have been more with Diggle, because...
And Roy, since they're supposedly so close, but we have yet to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I trust you, I'll follow you to the depths of hell, and that's all you get? Really?
I don't know.
It was poorly handled. And maybe there's more on the cutting room floor, because it happens. But that just really hurt my soul that was all that, you know, the other two members of Team Arrow got.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But like I said, I did enjoy Felicity's pep talk, and I don't know, I think that he did need to tell Felicity in no uncertain terms that, you know, I'm not going to be back, so I need you to know that, you know, I pushed you away because I love you.
Right.
And he didn't want her to feel like anything was defectively wrong with her, that it was just solidly on his shoulders, I think. And you know, if he knew he was marching to his death, I think that needed to be said, so she didn't, you know, take that to heart. The rest of her life if he didn't come back.
Right.
But it's just a time and a place, man.
Yeah.
Like, we've been flashing back and forth, like, unnecessarily, by the way, on the Icy Mountains ascent. I was so tired of seeing it.
I was looking for a blue flower.
I almost thought there was going to be one by the sword case.
I know.
One of the flashbacks shortly after he says that I love you to Felicity, we see him finally get to the top and he's kind of resting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we come back from the commercial break, he gets up and he steals himself, and then we see like Maseo and Nissa, and they're explaining the things to him, and then Ra's al Ghul enters the scene, and he gives that spiel about the first time he killed a man.
Okay, is it just me, or did that cloak totally remind you of Ned Stark?
Yep.
I mean, that's all I could think of was winter is coming.
So, he picks his weapons, and I'm very curious to know why Oliver picked those swords, if there's significance to it.
Yeah, that would be an interesting story.
I mean, there were so many, and considering that he and Maseo had spent so much time together, I would have assumed he would have picked up a katana blade or something like that.
Well, but then again, think about the sticks that he fights with. He's used to doing that two-handed. And those swords were shorter than most. So they may have been, more a weapon in similar size.
I don't know, because the hilt of those swords, though, I mean, seriously, that is something very... If you don't handle swords on a daily, when you first pick up one, the hilt of it, and your hand position and stuff, it's really odd, and you get blisters real quick working with swords. Especially they were like, I can't even describe those swords, honestly. But the handle was so beautiful.
Yeah. I can't think. I think there's a name for that type of sword, but I can't think of what you call it.
Yeah, I can't think of what you call it. But it was intricate, and I don't know if maybe Oliver was just drawn to it, and maybe we'll get something in that, because it just seemed odd out of all those that he would just pick those.
Yeah.
But I like how he goes, "You're not gonna get any weapons," and Roz goes, "I'll use yours when you're done with them."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He literally fought him with his hands behind his back.
Yeah.
Now, y'all know I was very skeptical about this whole Matt Mabel thing as Ra's al Ghul. I feel like we should have had Oded Fur, personally. That's just me. And also, I pitched Oded Fur for everything, by the way. I thought he should be Doctor Strange. Cumberbatch cookies. But yes, I was just like, I don't know. But, and like, he still didn't really pull off the physicality for me, but the personality, the air of arrogance and everything, I thought he pulled off pretty well.
Very well.
Condescending and just everything that Ra's al Ghul is personality-wise.
Yes.
So I do want to commend Matt Mabel for that.
Yes.
Oliver almost gets the best of Ra's al Ghul in a brief second. You're like, wait a minute. Oliver's going to kill Ra's al Ghul? Really? And he's going to become the head of the League of Assassins, like literally for a split second, that was what was running through my head. But Ra's al Ghul turns it on him, catches the freaking knife in his hand, kicks him in the throat, gets him on his knees, and Oliver's life literally flashes before his eyes.
Yep.
But not even really his life, just the people in his life. And I found it odd, the moments that he flashed back to. The one with his dad didn't look familiar, but the one with his mom is from the flashback when we find out that he had a son.
Yeah.
And the flashback for Thea is when he first comes home.
Yep.
And she comes running down the stairs. And then the kiss for Felicity, it was the kiss in the hospital for Felicity.
Well, you think about it, though. Okay, Thea coming down those stairs was probably an iconic moment for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I didn't recognize I did, but I don't know if it's true. It was actually, I thought it was from the hallucination when he tried to kill himself in season 1. So, but it was a hallucination, so I'm like, why? But it did, like, save him, but it wasn't an actual moment, so that, I'm thinking maybe that's something that we see later on.
Could be. Because
it was like, it was the most different one out of all the other flashbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were the iconic moments of. So I found that really interesting that those were the ones that they chose to use.
Mm-hmm.
We see Ra's al Ghul give him the death blow, and he kicks him off. He prays for him, though.
Yeah,
that was the most interesting thing of this whole episode.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And I think it really caught me off guard too, because he says he's just a boy.
Yeah. Well, in Raz's time, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, at his age, yeah, he would think of him absolutely as a kid.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that it basically seemed like he had mercy on his soul. And he says, you should be proud of yourself. You've lasted the longest.
Yeah, you've lasted longer than most.
He had respect for him in the end moments, That's epic. I mean, it's Ra's al Ghul,
Exactly.
But when he gave him the death blow and he kicked him off the cliff, I was like, and then like literally title card, fade to black, son. I was just like no music, no nothing. You just heard the wind from him falling. And it was just really, and then you hear him throw the sword and walk away. He doesn't even look back. It was like, what?
Yeah, it's like, okay, now what?
I mean, that was just crazy. I thought that was a really well-crafted moment. How they just did it minimalistically and just took away everything, and you just like shocked.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Definitely. I couldn't believe they went through with it.
Yeah, it definitely, they left everybody with a shocker, which was great.
I like I said, I was just like, wow. But like I said, I was like the whole episode, I was like, I wonder if they're really gonna go through with it.
Yeah, they totally did.
And like that was the whole thing. Like I was being really, really skeptical because back in like season 1, years in, okay, so what? You broke your leg. Okay, you're out of commission for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where's the stakes in that? Season 2, it was like, okay, Barry the scientist, and you know our big cliffhanger is that Barry gets his powers and gets put in a coma, like for a different show, basically. You know, and he was, you know, it was just like, you know, so the mid-season finales really hadn't been, you know, what I would want them. This one was. It's like they made up for those last 2 seasons.
Yes, this was a very iconic mid-season finale.
I definitely think that I could say, like, you know how like I rate like season 1, season 2 episodes, and I think this is the first one that wins hands down over season 1 and 2 for like the first time.
Agreed.
I'm blown away by the ending. Like that was the best part about the episode for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not the best part, but you know, the best part.
I'm floored with this decision.
Yeah.
And I really can't wait to see what this break from Oliver, having to focus on Oliver, brings to all the other characters.
And what it's going to drive them to.
Let's talk about Easter eggs.
Uh-oh.
What'd you notice? Nothing?
Not a whole lot.
So, first of all, let me just say that Sarab is not Arabic at all, and it doesn't mean phantom. It's like Urdu for mirage.
Ah.
So I was a little annoyed with that. The Phantom, though, is kind of this semi-famous, like, pulp hero that operated out of Africa. It has a few DC ties from the 90s, but not much to sneeze at. Omega also is a DC character. Several, honestly. Most famous for Legion of Superheroes, a villain. And Omega Man, of course.
Of course.
I mean, if you really want to stretch it, Darkseid fired Omega beams. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay. So really cool Easter eggs. When Felicity is on the phone with Caitlin, she is reading an article that says Mysterious Yellow Blur attacks Star Labs.
Yes.
So a little mid-season finale crossover Easter egg. Awesome. Okay, so what I'm really, really annoyed with is when Felicity is tracking the plane that Merlin flew from Corto Maltese to Starling City, she pulls up this map, and according to the map, Starling City is basically Chicago.
Uh-oh.
Star City has always been on the West Coast, quite honestly comparable to either, depending on who's writing, San Francisco or San Diego. I'm very annoyed.
Wow.
Anyway, enough of me ranting. The cool Easter eggs. First of all, the ornaments. I love the little Moira ornament that we got when Thea was hanging the ornaments on the tree.
Oh, I didn't notice the Moira one. I saw the Oliver and Thea ones.
Did you notice something specific about them? Oliver had a green scarf and Thea had a red scarf.
Ah, yeah.
That was so freaking cute. Oh yeah. So Ray changes Omac to Adam.
Right.
When he shows her the suit. And finally, the stupid shirtless duel that should have been in the desert, not an Arctic mountaintop. It's basically an homage to Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams' Batman issue number 244, where Batman is dueling Ra's al Ghul shirtless. I was just like, yeah, I instantly knew what it was what it was referencing, and I was not amused. Let's talk about the episode awards. Great.
You know, I give this one a solid B. Maybe even edging towards a B plus from I'm grading it against what we've seen this season.
Okay.
Yeah. Not against Arrow as a whole. This season has been really, really rough for me. I think you too. And this episode gave me more of what I've been wanting for a long time.
Yeah. I gave it a B minus. I mean, it could have been better had it not been so Batman-esque for me. But, like, it was a tight story. I appreciated that they came up with a concept and they stuck with it. And they made all the threads kind of fit for the most part. Like, we didn't have a B story like we did in The Flash. You know, it was just all prepping for the League of Assassins. Scene of the night.
I'd say 2. I would say the scene where the Arrow confronts Thea and he realizes Thea was a serious fighter. Okay, there you go. And then I would say, well, probably the duel scene, because it was pretty doggone cool.
Again, 3 for me. The duel, number 1, hands down. Number 2, Thea kicking Oliver's butt. And the third one would actually be Oliver confronting Maceo about a man not being able to have 2 names.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Favorite line? The dialogue was not as sparkly as it could have been this week.
Yeah, I would probably have to say it would probably be the whole Maceo thing with the, a man cannot live by 2 names. That was probably the most the line that I remember most from the episode.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that you could beat him, but I'm terrified that you won't kill him because that's not who you are anymore. And I'm so afraid that Ra's al Ghul is going to use your humanity against you.
Yes.
And then Oliver's response, which is just grown by leaps and bounds. Felicity. I honestly don't know if I'm a killer anymore, but I do know 2 things. The first is that whoever I am, I'm someone who will do whatever it takes to save my sister, Felicity. And the second thing, I love you. Now, maybe not the last 2, but definitely the first part. Because I think it goes back to season 1, and Malcolm totally had a valid point that Oliver didn't know what he was fighting for. But the minute that second bomb went off, he absolutely, from there on out, knew what he was fighting for. And so I like that they brought that back around full circle, because it was the biggest issue of season 1, and Oliver has grown so much since that finale.
Yeah, and he does have his humanity, and Barry just reminded him of that.
But he has to embrace Oliver Queen. And he's so afraid that he can't balance both. Basically that is what the season is about, the identity questions of being a superhero. Do I have to just be the Arrow? Can I be Oliver Queen and the Arrow? What does that mean for the people that I love? The people that know my secret, that fight with me? That is a struggle. That's an ongoing struggle. That's not something that can nor should be answered in one season.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like that Oliver is trying to, they have really done a good job with letting us into Oliver's head this season, and his heart to a point too.
They're moving him forward, which is a great thing, because he had to grow.
He absolutely had to grow. Talk about your stagnant pool of muck.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating, but I do, that's the best thing about season 3. Most memorable moment, I think we have the same one, I'm not sure.
Him getting killed and thrown off the side of the mountain?
Hit him in the throat. That was my favorite thing. I've done that to somebody before. And I've had that happen to me before. That it does hurt and it does stun you. And you can't collapse somebody's throat like that.
Oh, yeah. You can break the hyoid.
I was just like, I don't know, it was something oddly gratifying about it. Sounds so bad. But like I said, the whole episode, I was like, if he's the one that kills Ra's al Ghul, I swear, I will go up to that. Like, I was looking at flights to Vancouver on commercial break. We were going to have some problems. But I think my other one, too, would be the reveal that it was Thea and that Malcolm was behind it.
Yeah, and it was cool, too, that, everybody else had figured it out, and Oliver refused to believe it.
Yeah.
Because he loves his sister.
And family is his blind spot. Let's just be real.
Yeah, but, if you're going to have a blind spot, that's probably not a bad one to have.
Unless you're Oliver.
Yeah. Or Thea.
Exactly. Character of the night.
Oh, I would say Thea.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to see her finally get her moment where she's able to show her abilities and, the stun of the night and, one of them. And we just haven't seen much out of her for quite a while. And it was just kind of nice to see her get to do something other than stand at a bar.
True. I'll give you that. But I definitely would be remiss in my duties to not say Oliver. the way
Yeah.
that he steeled himself for unavoidable, excruciating death at the hands of Ra's al Ghul for his sister. Like, because I think, like, not that it makes up for all the crap that he pulled with Thea and how they've ruined that relationship, but it's a good start.
Yeah, well, and maybe, when he comes back from the dead, they'll have a new start.
Unless the Lazarus Pit or Lazarus Serum or whatever they're calling it makes him crazy, because there's a very good chance that...
Yeah, that could happen too.
The first episode we see him, or the first flashback of what happened or whatever, he's a crazy maniac on a killing spree or something like that.
Or maybe he does a Ronnie Raymond and doesn't know what's going on.
That's quite possible as well, too.
So, who knows?
I'm really interested to see how they pull this off. The fallout of this and how they tell the story, I think, is either going to gain them a ton of viewers or lose them a ton of viewers. I think the most improved thing was the tightening of the storytelling and the cohesiveness of the story.
And we get so many references to previous episodes, and it was just nice to feel like the story was fleshed out.
Best action?
Sword fight.
Which one?
The one at the end. That was pretty cool.
I really love the sword fight between China White and Tatsu.
Yeah.
It was a lot more intense and kinetic
Mm-hmm.
than the one that we saw with Oliver and Ra's al Ghul. But the thing that I liked, like I said, that I liked about the Ra's al Ghul duel was that he was literally fighting Oliver with one hand behind his back.
Yeah.
That's just like insult to injury, rubbing salt in the wound, and it just made me chuckle. It was a lot of action in this episode, actually, and I think that's what definitely made it feel more Arrow-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good hand-to-hand stunt choreography.
Yes. Very good.
Although we didn't have any explosions, and I'm a little bummed by that. We must be saving it for the finale. Best character interaction?
I really like the interaction between Maceo and Oliver. Maceo is so conflicted because he doesn't want to see anything bad happen to Oliver, but yet he has this obligation. Yeah. And so that was a wonderfully conflicted
They're still on different sides. Like, it's amazing. All this time has passed and they're still on opposite sides.
yeah, kind of heartbreaking in a way, I like the interactions between Oliver and Thea too, because we'd had a little here and there, but it was good to have Oliver have his eyes opened.
Definitely.
Then probably Oliver and Roz too.
Dude, you hit everything on the head. just nail on the head. Boop, boop, boop.
Ouch.
Get out of my head, Kelly.
Sorry.
That's okay. The biggest shock surprise of the night, I've said it a million times, that they actually killed, quote unquote, air quotes for everybody, killed Oliver Queen.
Well, yeah, because, wow.
This is straight up comic book territory now, though. There's literally no turning back from it.
Yeah.
This is a huge turning point in the series, really. Like, bigger than Mirakuru. Theories and predictions.
Oliver Queen will be alive again. Duh! Well, we pretty much know Roy's going to take up the mantle, and we pretty much know that we're going to see the Atom here probably sometime very soon.
Oh, yeah. We don't have any listener feedback. I just checked. But if you guys would like to send us some, you can send it to queen.consolidated@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at QC_SMGpod. Our Tumblr is queenconsolidatedpodcast.tumblr.com. Okay, which leads us into our own personal shameless plugs and self-promotion.
You can find me on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram at SuperSquint. That's SuperSquint. And you can also find me reviewing The Flash every week at voiceoftv.com.
What do you know? I review Arrow over on voiceoftv.com. I thought that this week's review was pretty dang good. I used 1,198 words out of the 1,200 that were allotted.
Wow.
I had a lot to say, and most of it was positive, actually.
Yay!
So if you're curious about a more positive take on this episode that I had, you should be sure to go over there and check it out. You can find me on Tumblr at Love Hellfire. I am on Tumblr under Super Hulock Junkie, or if you just want to follow my personal one is lilithfairyhellfire.tumblr.com, and then of course my blog, lilithlovestv.blogspot.com. Remember, loves is spelled Luvs. We hope you enjoyed this discussion of episode 309, The Climb, which is, of course, the Arrow mid-season finale. We will be back Wednesday, January 21st, 2015 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a brand new episode of Arrow that's 6 weeks. But it gives you time to catch up on all the Arrow Season 2.5 comic books.
Yes.
The Green Arrow title itself, there's a new jumping on point that started with issue number 36. Issue number 37 came out December 3rd. You guys should be sure to go and pick it up. It's pretty cool. Felicity Smoke, whose likeness is very much akin to Emily Bat Records, who plays the lovely Felicity Smoke on this show, of course, is now in the comic books and up to things. So definitely check that out.
Uh-oh.
I guess if you guys, I want to give you guys an incentive since I gave the listeners of the Flashpoint incentive. If the first 10 people to send us some comments about either the season overall or this episode specifically will get the first 3 issues of Arrow Season 2.5 in either PDF form or CBR form. So if you are interested in scoring some free swag, be sure to send us your emails.
Woohoo.
Unless you're stuck on a hellish island. Oh, wait. We are going to be stuck on a hellish island called
For 6 weeks.
Latest for 6 weeks. So until January 21st, 2015, this is Queen Consolidated.
Signing off.